Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and today I'm going to be talking about some sets that I haven't talked about too much. Japan has some different sets than the international releases. We got Stellar Crown, Shroud and Fable, Twilight Masquerade, Stellar Crown, main sets, Shroud and Fable. It's not, but still a set. It's got 99 cards here, which I don't know exactly what's included in these 99 cards. I guess it is all the cards. So you have Shroud and Fable with a bunch of cards. And then Japanese sets generally are smaller. Stellar Miracle was 135 cards, which made up most of our Stellar Crown set, and that was like a solid set. You have these weird things here that are mini sets, but they're all reprints. But then there's Paradise Dragana, which actually just recently released. But there's actually a set or two sets. They're decks, but they're in between the Stellar Terra type starter set Sylveon EX and the Stellar Terra type starter set Cerealage EX. I have talked about these cards some, but not that much. I just talked about them when they were first revealed, but that's it. So today we're going to be taking a look at them a bit more, and they have been legal for Japanese tournaments. I was talking about Stellar Crown tournament results, but some of these cards were actually played, specifically the Cerealage EX, which we'll get to, but we're going to talk about some other cards first. I'm not going to talk about like Noctowl. If you've been playing Standard, there's a good chance you've seen Noctowl. There's a good chance you've played with it, but even if you haven't, you have probably seen it. There are some cards. We got this like Registeel, which isn't anything special. A lot of these aren't that special, but we will start with this deck here. This is Zapdos and Mantine. I'm pretty sure none of them have seen any play. The Mantine's pretty bad. Zapdos, yeah, this one's also not very good. Then we come to Azumarill or Azumar. I don't know how to pronounce this, but this has an attack which does 230 for 4 Psychic Energy, which is a lot. And that's not really payable. You could technically pay it, but it's very hard. And it does 50 to itself as well. But you have the ability Sparkling Bubble. If you have a Terra Pokemon in play, this Pokemon's double edge attack, the one it has, can be used for only 1 Psychic. That's really good. 1 Psychic Energy doing 230 is like, that's pretty insane. It's not broken, but it's good. You do need a Terra in play, so it is on a single prizer, but you will have a 2 prize liability on the board guaranteed. But then well, you could have, like a synergy, but that's different. But we see this in a few different decks. We see in this Goldengo Ogerpon deck, which I don't really know what's going on here, to be honest, but it's kind of cool. We have Psychic Energies, Darkness Energies for Monkey Dory, and Fighting Energies for the Cornerstone Master Ogerpon EX, which is pretty interesting. And so that's cool. Goldengo has lots of different options. We see it in a few different Dragapult decks. It fits pretty nicely in here because Dragapult is not actually hitting 230, it's hitting 200. You do 260, but it's not to one target. Azumarill, though, is going to be hitting that really solid 230, which is what you're looking to hit to knock out a lot of 2 prize basic Pokemon, more so than 200, which does get some of them, but not all of them. And yes, does not run Irida. I was wondering why I played this Meryl. I don't know what the other one is, to be honest. It is, okay, it's 60 HP, so 70 HP is, of course, better. And there's a Cerealage EX deck, which we'll talk about later, but this one does play an Azumarill in it. Then there's, I'm pretty sure this Xerneas isn't anything special. Of course, Mimikyu is good. This Eevee is good. I'll talk about it real quick. Oops, I bumped my headset, but there we go. It should be back. So Eevee, there is a song which, like, these cards are playable, but there is Eevee here, which is pretty good, honestly. This card's kind of insane. I believe it's only seen play with Sylveon. Yeah, it has, but it has its ability here, which is really good. If this Pokemon is in the active, it can evolve during your first turn or the turn it was put into play. That's obviously really good, allowing you to just evolve instantly, essentially. It doesn't need to be in the active, but that's not that hard to do. And if you're attacking, that's what you want to do. All the evolutions, I believe, are attackers. Certainly the Sylveon EX is, but the evolutions aren't very good, but they're not completely terrible, especially if they are essentially basics. But they can also use reversal energy, so that's really cool. And they're not quite basics, but they can get put into play the same turn as basics. But we have this, and I'll talk about the trainers later, by the way. But Sylveon EX here, which is a stellar with 2 attacks. First, you have Magical Charm, Psychic Colorless, 160 during your opponent's next turn. Attacks used by the defending Pokemon do 100 less damage. This is pretty cool. It's not the same as taking less damage, but in some situations it is. If your opponent can't retreat or can't double switch, certainly, then it still provides a bunch of value. And you're also weak to metal, but you are psychic, so that's cool. Most psychic Pokemon are weak to darkness, but if you're a fairy type in the video game, you translate over as a psychic in the TCG, but you are weak to metal, which is pretty cool. Then we have the Stellar attack here, Angelite, which is Water, Lightning, Psychic. Choose two of your opponent's bench Pokemon and shuffle those Pokemon and all cards attached to it into their deck. If any of your Pokemon use Angelite during your last turn, this attack can't be used. This is, I believe, the only Pokemon with this attack so far, but the idea is if it's a different Sylveon EX, you just can't spam this attack because it would be really bad for your opponent if they're playing an evolution-based deck and you just get rid of all their previous evolutions every single turn. They just couldn't do anything, and that you could put yourself in that situation, and that would, I mean, they just lose. So you have Sylveon EX's two attacks here. Angelate's awkward to power up, but there are four lists, I believe, that have played it so far. This Gardevoir EX list can power it up. Yeah, but it's kind of awkward. It has, what's in here? It has, yeah, it doesn't really have a way to, it has TM, no, it doesn't have really a way to power it up. But you can manually attach, and if your opponent's targeting other stuff, then you can do that. So that's an option that's kind of fun. Also, we do see a fire. There's like some weird stuff going on with this Gardevoir list. It played game 16th, which is the lowest you can place and still be included in this data set. This other Gardevoir EX list is more focused on it, and we do see two copies of the supporter card Crispin, as well as the tool card Sparkling Crystal. So you can, of course, Gardevoir EX to Sylveon EX because it is Psychic. You need to be Sylveon EX, not Eevee, and you get one Psychic on that way. Then you attach an energy, a Lightning or a Psychic, no, a Lightning or a Water, and then you Crispin or Sparkling Crystal the other energy on, or Sparkling Crystal access an energy, so you can do that and just power up Sylveon EX. But of course, you have other options. I don't know if this is a good idea. You do have the Monkey Dories, and you're kind of tanky as well. You have this tanky Sylveon EX, which is kind of fun, and then you just have a couple of other attackers, a Drifloon, one Bravely Charm, and a Fluttermane, which is like okay, but obviously normal Gardevoir EX lists are going to be running. They're running a lot more, right? They are running, well, they're running more. They're running a Screamtail. We say Klefki instead of the Fluttering, but you do have presumably more recovery. Also, sorry if there's any background noise. Tell me if there's. I don't think there is, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, this list plays a little less recovery, I think. Less recovery cards, certainly. And this other list is a Pidgeot EX list. I don't know if it plays any other new cards. Looks like it doesn't. I mean, it plays like Glass Trumpet and yeah, and Crispin as well, which are new internationally, but they're not from the same set of cards as the Sylveon EX. But we see a bunch of different ways to power stuff up. We do see the energies, and Sylveon EX is, I guess, the main attacker. We have Bliss EX for Giraffe EX, Snorlax, Mawile, Mimikyu, and Blood Saluna EX. And I guess you could attack with the Radiant Greninja, which actually could happen. You also see Glass Trumpet, which accelerates. You need a Terra in play. Oh, no, yes, it could accelerate to Eevee. That's hard to do, though. You need for a Giraffe EX in play. You could have Sylveon EX in play, but then you don't have Eevee in play, so that wouldn't work in this case. But you could theoretically do that, accelerate to the Eevee with Glass Trumpet, then evolve. And we see Crispin and the Crispin, oh, and then Thornton. There we go. Yeah, Thornton. So those can like Thornton's not energy acceleration, but it's close. And so you'd have a bunch of, it's a control box deck, but Sylveon EX as a disruptive option, an attacking option is pretty cool. Then the last deck here is the Sylveon EX focus deck, which, and I'm not going to be looking at every Serial GX deck, by the way, I'll look at a few, but Sylveon X definitely has some cool ideas. This one is a control box style deck. Again, we do see the new Terra Orb card, which we'll take a look at. That's a pretty cool card. It's not broken, but it's definitely a solid card. Then, Crispin, Energies, you've seen this stuff before, but it's pretty similar concepts where you have control aspects and the Sylveon EX, which can do multiple different things. Then the next deck, we have this Ho-Oh. No, this one is not good. What's it do? It's not terrible. It does 200 if you have a Terra on your bench, but it just doesn't fit very well into the meta. But the Serial GX is super good. And this card, wow, this has been played like over 75 times. I don't know if it's 100, but it's a lot. We'll take a look at some first place lists. I feel like I should take a look at all the first place lists that there are here, which there are, how many? I've not looked here. Okay, there's 30, but that's impressive. Like, look at all these plays. We actually see the Zoroark, which can do 60 to each of your opponent's Pokemon EX, for each of your opponent's Pokemon EX or V in play. But the really cool card is, of course, Serial EX, which does 20 more for each energy in your discard pile, which can be special energies. You can also do 280 for Fire, Psychic, Metal, but that's not really a doable thing. So decks aren't really trying to do that because it's just pretty awkward. We do see like a water for Luminion V's attack as well as Iron Bundle, and we see a darkness for the Zoroark. We see a couple of double turbos. We see mist energies. The list runs 20 energies. With 20 energies in your discard, you're hitting, I mean, you're hitting enough to one-shot everything unless something crazy happens. But yeah, you're hitting big damage. Obviously, some might be prized and you can't get all the energies in the discard quickly. But you have Radiant Greninja, Cycling Road, which is just like Radiant Greninja, but a stadium, a little worse, but draws one. But it is a similar concept. You got a bunch of Earthen Vessels, and you're just trying to get lots of energy in the discard. We even see Legacy Energy, which can get discarded and still has value in that manner as extra damage. So it's just a really, really strong card. And it has 270 HP. Stage 1 EXs right now in Standard are not very good. They're not completely unviable, but certainly much worse than Stage 2 and Basic EXs. And I actually made a whole podcast episode with Uncommon Fossil about that, where we talked about kind of talked about the meta and just said that stage 1 EXs weren't very good. So this other deck though, and Serial Edge EX, I do think will be probably the best stage 1 EX we've seen. This list plays 19 energy and it's mostly fire though with a few waters just because. I mean, it doesn't like you don't need 15 energies, so just why not chuck in some water energies. The legacy energy is also interesting. It obviously pays for Serial Edge EX's attack, but you're really only using the aspect that lets you take or give up one less prize, but you get very good value there because it allows you to attack, I guess, with 4 Serial Edge. I'm not sure if that's the gameplay, but maybe it's if your Squawkabilly EX or Lumineon V gets knocked out as well. That could definitely be a part of it. Also, you do have Briere to take an extra supporter, but you're just getting a bunch of energies in the discard and hitting big damage. This last list we're going to look at here, I might look at a few more, but this last first place list here has Zamazenta V, which actually has a really cool ability. I imagine a lot of you are familiar with Rotom V, draw 3 cards, end your turn. This is similar. It lets you draw 5 cards, but you need to discard your hand first. Discard, draw 5, turn ends. This can be nice to get Pokemon, or not Pokemon in the discard, but it's not a big deal, but get energies in the discard. You have Carmen as well to discard, draw 5. So you could actually discard, draw 5 twice, turn 1 going first, which is really strong. And you are in another go first deck. Go first decks are pretty common right now. Let's see what the other concepts are here. We do have a list with Armarouge. We actually have a few of those. I mean they're like Armarouge decks, but then you can you can power up this other attack on Armarouge. Theoretically, though, it is very hard. Oh no, it's not. It's not super hard. It's just kind of hard. But you have the Monkey Dory idea to heal, which is pretty cool. This other list is interesting with Mawile V-Star giving you a switch slash gust, and we do see Armarouge as well. And of course, Armarouge and Serial GX evolve from the same evolution line, which is, I think, really cool and something I love to see. Pokemon that evolve from the same evolution line that provide different forms of value. And here they're entirely different. The ones, 2 prizers, the ones, a 1 prizer, the ones your main attacker, the ones this like support Pokemon that can do some really interesting concepts and provide healing and do some different things. You can of course run it with Squawkabilly EX, which we see. I don't know, did I look at this list? Yeah, I did. So Squawkabilly EX is a really important card in the deck. This is the Japanese tournament database. Well, it's not Japanese, like the database is Japanese, but the stuff in it is Japanese. The decks are grouped a little differently. It says it's a Serial Edge EX Squawkabilly EX deck, which isn't exactly true. But we have our Caledon EX, which is just fun. It offers a solid metal attacker, and as I said, you don't need 15 fire energies. You just play 7 here. Then you have a bunch of metal energies, which you can work with our Caledon EX, which I've talked about before, but it's just a solid attacker and solid Pokemon in general. Then this displays Drillbur. This is really cool. Drillbur, if you don't know, has its ability dig, dig, dig. Once on your turn, when you play it, you get to discard 3 basic fighting energies from your deck, and so you just play a couple copies of that, a bunch of fighting energies, and you just discard them. Of course, you have all your fires as well there. Then, the Mawile. I feel like Mawile V-Star is a really underrated card. Maybe that's just me. It's not like a broken card. We see Palkia V-Star, again, a similar concept, kind of like to Goldengo EX, honestly, because you have different tech options you can put in, because you can really play, you need some energies of the type you're attacking with, but you can play a lot of other ones too. We see one with Rotom V, and this one with Darkrai V-Star, which seems kind of cool. I guess it just plays a 1/1 Darkrai V-Star line here for support, but that does allow you to do some really good things in the late game, which I do think is I think Dark Harvester is a really fun card. I've been playing with it in Weird V with TMS Ogre Pontiacs. I played that deck. That deck is insane. I mean, that deck's really good. It's pretty good and it's really fun. But now we need to talk about the trainers. There's three trainers we need to talk about. We have, first of all, no, let's talk about this one first. This is called, it's translated here as Perfect Mixer. Search your deck for up to 5 cards and discard them, then shuffle your deck. You could play this in Serial Edge EX, though it hasn't been played in a lot of the lists, but it has been played in some. You can play it in Lugia V-Star. I'm pretty sure the concept here is just to get your Archeops in the discard. Oh, I was like, what is that deck? That's United Wings. I've not seen that deck in quite a while on account of it being. It's really bad against Dragapult, isn't it? It's not the best deck in general, but this deck came third. This is the highest placing list. Yeah, it looks like it's just to get your Archeops in the discard, and we see a bunch of Iridas, which is pretty interesting. You have Luminion V, though, with Irida. If you get Luminion V, you can play it, but you can't play the support you get. But you do have the Water Ogre Pawn and the Water Iron Bundle, so you have a bunch of different options there, and you can get fun value there with your Irida kind of acting like a Jack, but it actually gets the cards in the discard, which is really nice. And then you do lose out on Legacy Energy. That's like pretty bad. Legacy Energy is really good. So like we don't see Iron Hands EX here, but this is a fun concept and certainly something that you can play. We see it in Ancient Box decks as well, adding essentially 50 more damage for the rest of the game. United Wings adding 100 damage. It's definitely best in United Wings. United Wings is not great if we just look at, oh, that's the only list. If we look at Wattrel here, there's one other person who played United Wings with Gallade. Oh, like Curly Engine. So it is a nice upgrade to United Wings, though, allowing you to get a lot of this Pokemon in the discard. It's not like the deck has massive, I don't know, consistency issues. I mean, it's not hitting absurd amounts of damage turn one, but once you discard all your Pokemon, you need to recover them at some point. You have these issues. Like, if you have a good late game, then you have a bad early game. If you have a good early game, you have a bad late game. And that's kind of how I don't know if I said the same thing twice, but you know what I mean. So there are issues with the deck. It's definitely a flawed deck, and this isn't fixing all the issues, and might not even be the right A spec, but I think it is the right A spec for that deck, but it has a few cool use cases. It's like the item card, a Battle Compressor. Um, Battle Compressor is not banned, but it's really good and expanded. At the most recent expanded event in this database, it was good. Not Wait, how good was it? Never mind. It was really good. It's in the which list? It was the second, fifth, sixth, seventh, ninth, 10th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th. That's a lot of lists. That's over half of them, which is really impressive. It just discards 3 cards from your deck, but it's an item, not an A spec item, so it's a broken card. But it's broken in expanded format as well. A lot of the combos. I mean, we see Lugia Archeops, which does play it. It plays a decent chunk of copies of it, but also you have synergy with Versus Seeker. You do have synergy with Rescue Stretcher as well, but the big synergy is, well, of course, it's the Archeops, but also the Versus Seekers, which kind of turns this combo into just Search for a New Supporter, which is really broken. And of course, it's not just that. It is discard your Archeops. It's like it's really good. But then we have the other A-Spec, which is better. I don't think this A-Spec's broken, but I think it's good. Precious Carrier here. Search your deck for any number of basic Pokemon and put them onto your bench. You just fill your bench up with basics. This is really good. Admittedly, what decks want massive benches? There are decks like Reggie's, which want big benches, that cannot use Buddy Buddy Poffin. Buddy Buddy Poffin is definitely the card this is competing with. Obviously, getting 3 or 4 Pokemon is better than just 2. If you have the option getting 2 to 4 versus just 2, you'd rather take the 2 to 4 option. But is it broken? It's just a solid A spec. I feel like it's like a mediocre A spec. Yes, it does fill your entire bench. In terms of like play, this is like it's not an absurd amount. Also, there are some weird decks here too. Keep in mind there isn't a massive tournament database here for these cards. In the Limitless database, which I'm using, limitlesstcg.com is the website, by the way. But you can do some weird stuff. We got this Dreadnought deck. It just helps you set up. One thing that I don't know, I was originally not 100% sure on, but now I heard about it, is if you have the stadium Area Zero Underdepths. You cannot grab a Terra if you don't have any Terras in play. You cannot grab a Terra and then like fill up to 8 bench. You can just fill up to 5. But anyway, it's still very good. You can play it in lots of different decks. But is it as good as like Prime Catcher or Unfair Stamp or Secret Box or Legacy Energy? No. I mean, Secret Box is kind of the most comparable one to it, and Secret Box is not a broken ace spec either. It's pretty good. I feel like Secret Box is the most similar to Computer Search. It's not Computer Search, but it does similar things. Honestly, I think they're pretty similar. I feel like Computer Search, like, I don't know if this is a hot take, but I feel like Computer Search and Standard would just be like, well, we do have the Knockdown engine. I'm not sure. It'd be good, but it wouldn't be like, I think Prime Catcher is better than Computer Search. I don't know how it's doing an expanded. I think in Standard, I think Prime Catcher would be better than Computer Search if they just like added it. But yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll see it coming back. Probably not. I don't know if we're seeing any more ace specs. Well, I think we'll see a few more ace specs, like 3, I think. I don't actually remember, but I don't think we're gonna see 10 more ace specs. We might. Who knows? I don't know if we'll see them next year. That's interesting to find out. I don't know if we'll see trainers ace specs, but there's one last item card we have to talk about, and that is Terra Orb. This card is pretty fun. This is not like a flashy card, maybe isn't the best one to end off on, but it's an item that lets you search for a Terra Pokemon, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck, which is pretty cool. There are a bunch of different decks that play Terra Pokemon, and we see this card has seen a decent chunk of play. You can see it here in this Charizard. It doesn't have a Pidgeot, but it's a Charizard Noctowl engine with a Charizard deck, and we do see a Wellspring Mass Ogre Pontiacs, and it kind of just gets you going. Searching for stage 2s right now. Featherball. Let me find Featherball. Featherball searches for a Pokemon with free retreat excuse me. Specific. My throat is not happy right now. I don't know. I'm not like sick anymore, but anyway. I guess I've been recording too much. But Charizard DX here has not free retreat, right? But one card in this deck. Wait, just one card. Yeah, only one card in this deck has free retreat, which is Pidgeot DX. Sometimes you can play it to get a few Pokemon with free retreat, but just Garchomp, yeah. So this deck, like Featherball, is really good because it gets your Pidgeot EXs or your Garchomp EXs. But most decks, it's only grabbing like one Pokemon. This deck, Arceus V-Star with Regieleki, like it's just one Featherball. It just gets your it gets your Regieleki VMAX. Oh, it gets Mew EX, Regieleki VMAX, and Superior V-Star. The best cards in Standard. Let me take a quick look. And keep in mind, something more Pico does not have free retreat. I feel like in deck, I feel like a lot of people would know that if you know more Pico. If you don't, then obviously it doesn't really matter. But where is it? Retreat cost equal to 0, I think. And then in, of course, Standard, and also it appears in the competitive database. There we go. So there are like some. Oh, Clef is a good one. Mew EX is a good one. Pidgeot EX is good. And there are certainly some other solid cards in this list, but those 3 are definitely the best. Pidgeotto, some people are playing Pidgeotto, and you can Featherball for it, which is nice. There is like this Miraidon EX, Starmie V, Superior V Star, Regieleki V Max, then Northern EX is definitely solid. I say that's the 4th one. Dunsparce is nice if you are playing Dunsparce, you get really good value out of Featherball as well, which is pretty fun. But generally Featherball isn't super great, so like getting your Pidgeot EX, you'd rather get your attacker a lot of the time. It depends, but you want to get your attacker multiple times in the game as well. So Featherball really has one exact use case, but then what's this Terra Ball or whatever Terra Orb? This is like definitely a Pokeball. Anyways, it looks like a Pokeball, but this is useful in decks like Charizard Pidgeot or Dragapult Pidgeot, which already could have been playing a Featherball because you don't want to Ultra Ball away 2 cards from your hand all the time. Sometimes you can, but a lot of the time you don't want to. But now you can go ahead and play a card that actually is a little bit better than Featherball a lot of the time. We see it in like some weird stuff like Greninja EX deck with Trapghost EX and Wellspring Mass Ogerpon EX, and get any of these 3. Sure, Nest Ball is about as good for Trapghost EX and the Ogerpon, but it's slightly different, but probably just as good. And then it gets other stuff. Like it's not like it's better than Nest Ball, but it is worth a 1 of, which you can search out with Noctowl as well, or Irida. So it has some use cases which are pretty cool. This Region Built Ogerpon deck, which plays the new Latias EX story I've talked about. This card is really good. It's probably the best card from Paradise. No, it's probably the best. It's the best Pokemon from Paradise Dragana, by a bit of a wide margin. It's got over 50 plays. Caledon EX has less than 25 there. I'm pretty sure it's 25 cards per page. So I mean, Energy Search Pro does not have more plays than our Caledon EX, but anyway, the Latias EX is not a Terra, but the Ogre Pawns are. All those are. So there's a bunch of solid Terras. And if you have a deck that plays multiple, it's really good. The Sylveon EX deck we took a look at plays it to get the for Giraffe EX or the Fighting Ogre Pawn or the Sylveon EX itself. So you have a bunch of really solid use cases of it. Also, it obviously gets a Terra, so if you're playing Noctowl, it will get the basic. Presumably, you're playing a basic Terra because you want to. I'd highly recommend any Noctowl deck you play at least one basic Terra. If it's obviously Trap Ghost, you're playing a bunch, but if you're just playing Dragapult, play at least one if you're playing Noctowl. Though I would not actually recommend Noctowl in Dragapult, but you can get really solid value out of Terra Orb. If you're playing a deck with Charizard EX and Dragapult EX, it gets multiple cards. And it's just definitely it's another ball search card. It's not a broken ball search card, but it's an okay ball search card. Um, Even if it's not technically a ball, it's like Buddy by Poffin's a ball search card. But anyways, I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on these cards. Which ones do you think are going to be the best? Which ones you're most excited for as well? The new ones, not like Switch. Obviously, Switch is good. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Consider liking, subscribing, hitting the bell, joining the channel, all that good stuff. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.